Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, it's Sarah Banta with Sarah Banta's Health Talk on Accelerated Health Radio and TV. And today I'm talking about a topic that we all need to listen to, including myself. That's addiction and how to overcome addiction. When I was younger, both my parents said, Sarah, don't touch alcohol, don't touch cigarettes. You have an extremely addictive personality and extremely addictive genes. And I always was so afraid to get into those things. But addiction does not have to be just about alcohol or drugs. And my biggest question when I interviewed Dr. Anna Lembke, who is the author of Dopamine Nation, highly recommend you go back and listen to her. She's amazing, and she'll be on Accelerated Health Radio and TV again. But was why would we have the ability to be addicted? Why would the brain even want that? Why do our ancestors, what was it doing for us? Well, in times of scarcity for our ancestors, hyperfocus and drive to find and seek needed food and water for survival depended on that strong neural pattern to reward addictive and extremely focused behavior, which now makes sense. Now, in modern times, we don't have scarcity, right? Especially in the United States. And in fact, we have an overabundance of everything from food, shopping to entertainment on our devices. Every single person has a device, or probably 5. Or pornography, gaming, multiple types of drugs, and more. And almost anything can become an addictive drug and developed into what we call an addictive behavior. So I'm not just talking about drugs and alcohol here. I'm talking about anything. And so that's why this is so important for all of us to listen to, because I'm sure you've got something that you have a tolerance to or an addiction to. When you look at the countries around the world, the richest countries have the highest rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide. And in the US, like other wealthy countries, we're walking around in a dopamine deficit state, experiencing the universal symptoms of addiction withdrawal. Addiction is defined as a continued compulsive use of a substance or behavior despite harm to self or others. Why do we engage in these addictive behaviors? Well, people start using a drug or engage in an addictive behavior to have fun, solve a problem, or avoid physical or emotional pain, including depression, anxiety, loneliness, or boredom. So as I'm saying all of this, think about the last 2 years. Think about the amount of people locked in their homes that are lonely, that are anxious, that are full of fear, and getting depressed, and they're bored. So this is a firestorm environment, just waiting for addiction to happen in all kinds, for our children, for us adults. And if that substance or behavior initiates a dopamine response, meaning you feel good, and act is rewarded, the drive to repeat that behavior or drug will increase to attempt to alleviate the pain initially felt by the person. The cycle of addiction begins. So there's this pain-pleasure balance. Dopamine is our pleasure neurotransmitter. There's a pain-pleasure balance, or teeter-totter, as I like to think of it, of dopamine. As it happens, our pain and pleasure neural pathways are in the same area of the brain. And as Dr. Anna Lembke says, for every pleasure you experience, there's an equal pain that you will suffer. So the bigger the pleasure, the bigger the pain. So something really to think about when you're going to go engage in that pleasure that is your addiction, right? So the pain-pleasure balance is like that teeter-totter, and when the balance tips to one side, we experience pleasure, and when it tips to the other, we experience pain. The balance wants to stay level, and it doesn't want to stay on one side or the other for very long, right? So our brains will work really hard to restore that equilibrium after any deviation from that neutral position. For example, when you eat a piece of chocolate, and this happens to me every single night because I need to have my dessert. That's my drug, right? But now I have it in moderation, hopefully. But every time you eat a piece of chocolate or partake in a session of gaming or see an increase in likes on your social media, the brain experiences a hit of dopamine and pleasure. However, it will quickly start down regulating the dopamine transmission and the dopamine receptors to bring the brain level again. Okay, so the pain response will work hard to equal the pleasure. So for every pleasure, you'll experience that equal pain. So this is when you will experience the hangover or the depression or the letdown. The other thing to think about is when you're eating that piece of chocolate, before you're even finished, you feel this pain that's making you say, I want that second piece of chocolate, even before you finish the piece of chocolate. So imagine you're having the drink of alcohol and it's coming to the end of your beer or your vodka soda, and you're saying, okay, I'm feeling pain, even though I've got the drink still in my hand. And you're saying, I want another. I want another, because that body is bringing down the dopamine and you're quickly saying, no, I need to increase that again. That letdown is the pain that drives our brain to want more of the drug, or a stronger potency of the drug, or more variety of our drug of choice. Something about the variety thing that's really interesting is if you go eat at a buffet, you tend to eat more. Why? Because there's more foods to choose from. If you have on your plate just two foods, like one vegetable and a meat, you're not going to eat 3 steaks and pounds of broccoli. But if you have like all these different side dishes to choose from, you're going to end up overeating because of variety, and that's working on your dopamine as well. So as a result of this repeated addictive behavior, you have changed your joy set point, the baseline for joy and pleasure that has decreased, and the baseline for pain has increased. So you need to use your jug just to feel level and normal. And without the use of drug, you experience anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression. Those are all signs that your level of dopamine, or your baseline, has lowered. Okay. So once the brain has an addiction, triggers that remind you of the drug will never go away. For instance, if you're reminded of your drug by a person or a situation, a friend group, you will experience a small dopamine hit just from that trigger. And when that occurs, if you don't use the drug of choice, you're going to experience a dip in dopamine below baseline, and that will trigger a stronger craving for the drug. That's why you don't want to be around the druggy friends, or you don't want to go to the bar, because just that trigger is increasing your cravings. Does this make sense? I've never really understood why, just stay away from the friends that remind you of that behavior. But that trigger, if you're exposed to the trigger and then you don't fulfill it with that drug or the behavior, you're going to be even more depressed. If you go to your social media and you've posted something and you don't have very many likes, you're going to be even more depressed than you would be if you just went to look at your social media in the initial way and saw a few likes and got a little dopamine hit. So I hope this makes sense. So what is tolerance? Every person has a dopamine base level before engaging in too many dopamine hits. And as we repeat a rewarding behavior, we will continue to experience a deeper and deeper dopamine deficit. As a result, to reach the same initial level of pleasure, more of the substance or behavior or a more potent dose of the substance or behavior is needed. And eventually, the substance or behavior leading to pleasure is needed to reach the initial base level of dopamine. This is described as tolerance, needing more of the substance over time to get the same effect. Now, when we're talking about food, it's the same thing. So you've got the addiction to sugar that gives you that dopamine hit, and the cravings. There's a physical actual response to sugar and cravings in the brain as well. So it's not just the mental dopamine hit. There's actually 3 different pathways to from the gut to the brain with sugar. So when we're talking about food and sugar, it's even stronger. And sugar is absolutely one of the worst drugs that you can become addicted to. So what happens when tolerance becomes the addiction? As tolerance to the drug of choice increases, the focus narrows in on seeking that drug and paying less attention to other activities and behaviors that used to be modestly pleasurable or that you would enjoy. In fact, the focus is strictly on the drug of choice, and other pleasurable activities lose their attractiveness. This is the clue to you that your behavior is becoming an addiction and that you need to do something about it, right? You're stopping the enjoyment from the other activities in life. You are now zeroing in on that one thing. After building a tolerance to a substance or a behavior, withdrawal symptoms will occur if you can't engage or in that chosen drug of choice. And those symptoms include anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression, and cravings. So let's take a step back to the last 2 years again. All of these people, all in fear, living at home, isolated, engaging in free pornography, free gaming, their devices, their social media. We all are living on our devices because we're isolated, right? Or you're really near the kitchen 24/7, and now you're eating more foods, more sugar, drinking more, the cabinet's right there. All of these things are so accessible, and we're not going to the office. We're not going to school. I noticed in my kids that everything that 10th grader was doing, right, the 8th graders were doing, right? So everything started earlier because there was all of this free time on their hands. They had nothing but their Zooms and their phones and the food. They're not getting out to go to practice or exercise. All of this is increasing the addiction. And then now we're seeing a huge rise in anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression, and those cravings. Kids, adults, men, women, everybody. So how does dopamine play a role in addiction and recovery? So dopamine is very important to movement and moving forward. There's no coincidence that it is important for pleasure and reward and motivation that you need that dopamine, right? We need motivation. It is Michael Phelps. He had dopamine hits as he was training and seeking his goal for the gold medals. Once he reached the top, huge letdown. The dopamine sunk, right? So dopamine is moving forward to a goal. It's not actually getting to the goal, right? It's actually the moving forward. That's why walking is such a great thing for our health, because you are literally moving forward on a physical basis. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is key when you look at how to overcome an addiction. So number 1, remove the access for 30 days. Abstinence addresses the biological aspect of addiction and allows the brain to reset its neural pathways and reset its dopamine levels. Next, group or individual therapy. These can help address the psychological aspects of addiction. It's also giving you some accountability, someone to go see, an appointment, another aspect of moving forward, right? Remove access to the social and contextual environments and replace them with support groups. So stop going to the bar, Stop hanging out with the friends that like to drink, your drinking buddies, or where the friend group that is always on their phone. I swear, I walk into a room of teenagers and they're all standing around staring at their phones. They're literally texting each other and they're face to face. That's how addicted these devices are. And it's like, put down your phone and talk. So if that's an addiction, put your phone away and start creating the relationships that are not on social media, that are not on texting or email based, but are actually in person. Then you want to find healthy alternatives. Once the reward pathways have been established, it's helpful to find healthy alternative activities, drinks, foods. For instance, if sugar is an issue, find the websites that have the stevia based goods, or fill up on the wild animal protein that I always talk about, because that is going to sustain your physical nutritional needs, and it will heal the gut, which then also resets your dopamine levels and some of your neurotransmitters in the gut and the brain. Okay, so have a mocktail, put it in a wine glass with a lime on top so it feels like you're drinking something, but it's non-alcoholic. Fill your refrigerator and your pantry with healthy alternatives. You have to crowd out the drug of choice with healthy alternatives. Other alternatives are walking, exercise, a creative activity, start painting, get into cars, start writing blogs, writing in your journal, all of these things to fill the time that used to be filled with your drug of choice. Next, I swear by the accelerated Ascent diet cleanse and how it helps overcome addiction. And it focuses a 30-day period. So you are focused, you're moving forward on a plan, and it's of abstinence from the drug of choice, along with supplements that work synergistically to reset physical, mental, and emotional health while lowering the withdrawal symptoms. And it's not just about the weight loss. The cleanse helps encourage healthy dopamine responses and alleviate that anxiety and depression. The accelerated keto. This is in the cleanse, and this increases mental and physical stable energy, encourages calm focus. It increases GABA, so your brain is like, it's like this nice calm energy, right? And it helps with decreasing the cravings for the addictive substances and behavior. It turns the body into a fat burning machine within 30 minutes, and it taps into its own fat stores for energy right away. What does that do? That means that your body has a 24/7 stable energy source. There's no need for sugar. There's no need for alcohol or drugs to fight that up and down roller coaster that you can have from being on and off a drug. Taking the accelerated keto is the quickest way to tap into those alternative sources of energy, that fat burning, burn the excess calories, suppress the appetite and other cravings, increase the GABA, dopamine, and serotonin while maintaining that level stable energy. And then also, it has ingredients in there to break down the saturated fats into unsaturated fats, and this will help burn the dangerous visceral fat around the belly and the liver. And the more the person's liver is defatted and clogged, the easier it is for the liver to function in all areas, including detoxing from drugs, alcohol, and other addictive substances. Our liver is our detox organ. We gotta love our liver. And whether it's sugar, whether it's drugs, alcohol, even just a behavior or a social media, that toxicity, the EMFs from our phone, is disrupting our detoxification pathways and clogging our liver, right? So even these things that are not ingested, like food and drink, but the EMFs and the other behaviors are actually clogging our liver and our detox pathways. The liver is also where the thyroid hormone converts T4 to T3. And as the liver's functioning better, the thyroid's going to function better as well, increasing metabolism, mitochondrial function, and energy. And we all know that if our thyroid isn't functioning, detoxification suffers and withdrawal effects from addiction are worse. Next is the Acceleridine. And the Acceleridine iodine increases ATP, which is cellular energy, by 18 times. And that's going to increase metabolism, caloric burn, brain function, physical performance, wound healing, fat burning, healthy apoptosis, which is the destruction of disease cells. All of those things are going to help with our recovery, as Acceleradine is providing the needed iodine molecules for every one of your 100 trillion cells in the body. It's also detoxing every cell of toxins, including the substances of addiction and the EMFs and the radiation from our phones. ATP is that true cellular energy, and when it increases, energy and fat oxidation increase. So as one is experiencing withdrawals from their substance of choice, Acceleridine is providing more cellular energy, minimizing the side effects of withdrawal and providing clean energy at the cellular level. And it's also helping improve metabolism and physical energy by supplying the necessary iodine for the thyroid hormones. So as your thyroid is functioning optimally and ATP production is maximized, detox and recovery is expedited, and you're going to have the energy to go for that walk, to do the healthy alternative, whatever that is. Then you've got the accelerated cellular detox powder. This formula, all organic, soaks up the toxins of addictive substances. It also coats the stomach and intestinal lining. Reducing inflammation helps with bloat and regularity, alleviates issues like Crohn's disease and colitis, helps soak up the toxins throughout the day that cause leaky gut. Now, all of those addictions are damaging your gut. They're causing leaky gut. So the detox powder soaking up all the toxins, healing leaky gut. And as inflammation is decreased and the toxins are absorbed, then absorption of the nutrients are improved and the gut issues are curtailed. And the side effects of addiction are minimized. So the pain side of addiction is going to be minimized. Then you've got the accelerated silver. This is enhancing your immune system's ability to devitalize those foreign pathogens, including those that contribute to leaky gut and all of the negative side effects of the addiction. So it's also encouraging better detoxification of the addictive toxins and substances. Now, you also need electrolytes and minerals. The quintessential 0.9 supports homeostasis, rehydration, and normal digestion while eliminating excess water and getting rid of those toxins. All of these factors are going to lead to a quicker detox from your addictive substance and minimize the withdrawal symptoms. And then you've got the liver flush parts. Okay, so this is part of the Ascent Diet Cleanse. These supplements soften the liver stones and gallstones, prep the liver to release those stones in the toilet, and as a result, the detoxification from addictive substances will improve, fat burning increases, metabolic rate increases, and doing this 3 to 4 times a year is mandatory for everybody. I have people that have come off of drugs where they've done back-to-back ones, really getting everything cleaned out, and they feel like $1 million. It truly is amazing. And then you've got the Laxa Comfort in the cleanse that helps make sure you're going to the bathroom 2 to 3 times a day, bowel movements. We have to get the poop out. If you are not going to the bathroom and you're constipated, those toxins are just recycling in the body. Other things that you can use to help support your addiction recovery: accelerated gold. Gold has been known for thousands of years to curb addictive tendencies, improve mood, help with anxiety and depression, even increase IQ, and even improve spiritual connection. Accelerated gold Just like the accelerated silver, take it one step further through its scalar technology, which imprints it with bioinformational codes to further help with anxiety and depression. And so it's really helpful to calm the brain down. You can also use the Nirvana LifeWave stem cell patch. This is the bliss mood patch to help attain the state of happiness and joy. It lifts depression, elevates dopamine naturally, and sustains production of the beta endorphins, the happy feel-good hormones. And it also stimulates the production of collagen, helps to reduce those lines and wrinkles that we want to get rid of. And it's an anti-aging nutrient as well. So it really helps reinstate those healthy dopamine levels and minimize the withdrawal symptoms. Also, the Eon Patch. This is one of my favorites. It's anti-inflammatory, the anti-stress patch, the happy patch. It raises something in you, the anti-neoplastins, and helps balance and calm the brain while reducing cortisol, your stress hormone, and the C-reactive proteins. What else it does is it flips you from the sympathetic into the parasympathetic mode, into the relax and digest mode, and out of the fight or flight. And that is needed, especially when you're coming off of your drug of choice. It balances the autonomic nervous system, the heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, respiration, and all symptoms from the addiction withdrawal will be minimized. The glutathione patch. Why glutathione when it comes to addiction? Because we're detoxing, and glutathione is needed for detox. Not only is it the most prominent detoxifying tool when it comes to substance abuse, but it also is the master antioxidant, immune booster, and it protects the brain. It increases glutathione by 300% in 24 hours. When it's worn with the X39 patch, which it resets over 4,000 genes in your body, helps your body detox in its natural way, as it did when you were 20 years old versus 30, 40, or 50. That's going to increase your detoxification of your addiction. And it also will bring up glutathione levels so that suffering goes down in symptoms with other diseases, autoimmune issues, arthritis, autism, MS, Parkinson's. The other supplement that I promote for addiction recovery is Stress Mover. And this is a combination of calming amino acids and adaptogens to help regulate the production, disruption, and metabolism of key hormones and neurotransmitters while supporting the gut and immune system for just that everyday calm, right? And the combination of ingredients works synergistically to support the function of the HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, to bring balance to that metabolic function, including and some of the major detoxifications and gut pathways. So as a result, the adrenal withdrawals will be minimized. What else do you need to be doing? Walking. Like I mentioned, dopamine is released when that sensation of moving forward, mentally, physically, or spiritually. Walking is the most basic way to move forward and helps calm the brain, relieves stress, stabilizes blood sugar. Just a 10-minute walk after you eat will blunt the rise in blood sugar. That's huge. It also will increase that healthy level of dopamine. And exercise. Exercise increases endorphins, reduces stress, reduces blood sugar, stabilizes normal dopamine response, and it forces you to press a bit more of the pain side of the balance, which helps reset dopamine. So now you know about addiction, and you are thinking, gosh, what can I do? You take the supplements, you take a step back, and you think of it as that pain pleasure, right? And I just got a question, where can we get the products? At acceleratedhealthproducts.com. You can also find all of my articles and videos at sarabantahealth.com, which leads you to acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Thank you for the question. But using these tools to really do that reset, doing the Ascent Diet Cleanse to do that 30-day reset, and that's going to give you a natural barrier for those 30 days that are needed to be off the drugs, to reset the dopamine, and to find dopamine hits in healthier ways. I have an addictive personality. I need to manage it. I need to make sure that any addiction or high level of behavior that I am increasing tolerance to is healthy. And when I start seeing it go into an unhealthy direction, I take a gut check and say, okay, we need to start moving it into another direction. Everyone has this issue. It is built into our systems. Our ancestors needed that tendency to have an addictive personality to survive. We don't anymore. We are living in an overabundance lifestyle with everything. We can get fruit and vegetables in times of year when they're not naturally grown. They're flown in from other countries. All of these things are just so easy to access. So we really have to be our own support system. I'm here for you, of course, and really engage in the behaviors that are healthy, that are going to crowd out your addictive behavior. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Share this episode with your friends and family. We all need this. We all have addictive personalities, addictive tendencies, and always join me Monday live at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern on this channel, Accelerated Health Radio and TV. This is broadcasted over 100 channels everywhere you subscribe to your podcast. Please leave a comment below. You can find out more about the Ascent Diet Cleanse and the supplements at sarabantahealth.com. Join my free group coaching. That is also in the description below. It is free. It's on Telegram. It is like-minded people that are there to support you, to troubleshoot, to help engage you as you're overcoming your addiction. And we are all very humble and cheerleaders for you. There's no judgment whatsoever. I post daily videos and articles and tools and tips to help you on your health journey going forward. So make sure you join that free group coaching and let me know how I can help you further. And join me every Monday, 2 p.m. Pacific time here on this channel, and Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time with me and my guest for Accelerated Health Radio and TV. Hope you guys have a great day, and we will talk soon.